is broken, and nothing's going right.
This wall's been building in your mind, but you'll find a way to live these dreams you hold inside. You can't just live within your grasp, 'cause what's out of reach are all the things that you were meant to be. I will lay you down, and I'll show you how to close your eyes and see beyond the doubt.
Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ted Visner, and if you find the information shared here to be useful, please like, subscribe, and share. I get calls nearly every day with people asking me how they can participate in the militia, so I wanted to put this video together to offer some help and to share my thoughts in this area. Contrary to popular belief, the militia doesn't go around killing women and children by blowing up federal buildings. This is, of course, the propaganda working against the militia, and to a great extent has been very debilitating. Observing and protecting the individual rights of others is one of the first objectives of the militia, whereas indiscriminate killing is most certainly not. If you haven't noticed yet, the time scale is set to work against us. Corruption and tyranny enjoys protection from this difference in the time scale. As we all march forward in time towards our inevitable deaths, those committing the atrocities against the people come and go, but their agenda remains the same, and with every new official placed, they get to guarantee their work from the past as it's preserved and carried forward, while most of the work done by the folks on this side of oppression die off, and all of their work generally dies along with them. It seems that with every new batch of patriots willing to put in the time to help make things better, time is the true enemy, because we are fractured and completely without sustaining structure. Don't we wish the IRS was structured like the Patriot Movement? While this war of greed and oppression has been raging against the people and the Constitution for more than a century, and with every passing generation of militia folk, our efforts and accomplishments are lost, and with every new generation we are virtually starting over from scratch. This, my friends, must end. One of our primary goals needs to be the arresting of this natural decay consistent with the passing of time. To do this, the militia needs a lasting structure. Another of our primary goals needs to be the recognition of groups trying to perform the job of the militia while openly claiming to not being militia. The militia is a constitutional fixture and derives its legitimacy directly from the Constitution itself. When we attempt to create other groups without this constitutional endorsement, we are only lending credit to the disparagement of the name militia. Other groups and other names are actually groups designed to look like insurrectionist groups, and without this constitutional endorsement, this is actually what they are. Once these things become understood, we will then have a plan and can lay the foundation for a lasting and effective militia that will work to serve as an effective deterrent to government crime and corruption, things obviously missing today. The next biggest hurdle is to come to understand that the militia is not simply a group of warriors preparing to wage war against the government with guns. This too is propaganda that works to defeat the militia right out of the gate. Like every truly effective force, the militia is much more reliant on its supporting services. What we've seen over the last several decades is the warrior part of the militia going on camera and speaking their piece. How often do we see a police officer jumping on camera and speaking for all police? The answer? Never. To date, we've been led to believe that the militia men and women that are ready to physically fight for the people and the individual rights of the people in support of the Constitution are expected to do absolutely everything, and for obvious reasons, this will never work. Our fighting men and women need anonymity for their own safety and to keep them from being infiltrated. Expecting them to be the voice and in-camera presence of the militia is asking them to live every day in fear. Unit and cell size is absolutely relevant. The unorganized militia is a cell structure, unique to itself, and takes no orders from any outside influence. This is what makes it so effective. Each cell of between 8 and 10 men and women is commanded from within by volunteers committed to following the orders of their internally elected commander. This commander is only the commander of their own group or cell and is expected to properly train and equip their own group and to generate the orders of their group independent of any and every other group or cell. Today we see commanders taking command of multiple groups, and this converts the unorganized militia into an organized militia, which can and will work to serve the interests of the state and our continued oppression, just like the police. Small groups commanded entirely from within makes for an unstoppable force. Groups A through Z collect the same intel. The intel is internalized by the group and its members, and then the commander of each group generates the group's orders. The orders generated upon any certain intel must reflect the group's ability to accomplish the orders with some degree of confidence in their success and be based entirely upon the group's collective strengths. Any group receiving its internal orders from its commander that is beyond the group's ability to accomplish is a threat to that group and its members, and the commander should be replaced immediately. Any group whose commander relies upon orders from outside the group is not functioning as unorganized militia and needs to be replaced immediately. If you have friends and neighbors that are wanting to help fix our country and are willing to come together with other like-minded people, you have just formed a group. This collective of like-minded people then needs to elect a commander from within. Any commander worth being called a commander is first responsible for assessing the strengths and weaknesses of his or her team. Then, from this assessment, the commander starts creating and generating orders for the group based exclusively upon the group's strengths. This is typically the critical juncture where most groups fall apart, and this is where the warrior class feels compelled to shed its older and more feeble members in support of building a strictly fighting strike team that only want to practice the craft of fighting physically. While every person should be ready to pick up arms in defense of themselves and their neighbors, this is not the only approach. 25 people with pitchforks can be much more intimidating than 5 men suited up in body armor and carrying assault rifles. The state killing 5 men in body armor can and will be spun by the media as a state success story in stopping terrorism, while killing 25 men and women with pitchforks will defy any and all suitable or believable explanation. Ironically, organizing 25 men and women with pitchforks is also much easier to accomplish and to maintain. Everybody has at least 5 friends that knows about the problems we face in this country. The sadistic nature of our courts, and the abuse of force going on with our local law enforcement. Take command and form a group. Assess your group's strengths and capabilities. Draw your attention to your local community and find out what is going on there among your own people, and then issue orders to your group that directly reflects their capabilities. After you've assessed your team's abilities and capabilities, you will most likely discover that your team isn't suited to storm the tower, which is absolutely fine because there are tons of other things that need to be done in support of the same objectives, such as creating a greater public awareness of any particular situation that discusses the group as a group. The concepts explained here are so simple that even children can and should do the same thing. After all, we're working to salvage what's left of our country for them and for their children. If and where you can, order your group members to attend your local court on different days. See what goes on there and then report it. The impact of this courtroom auditing will have immediate effects. Paying attention to those self-proclaimed honorable men will make them cautious. Teach your team members how to complete sworn affidavits. Create audio and video recordings whenever possible and publish and post your works. Share your findings within your own community. Some groups with a stronger understanding of the Constitution will find it easier to call themselves militia. While this isn't completely necessary and certainly isn't mandatory, as everyone in this country that isn't employed by the state already makes up the militia. Some of the most effective strike teams that I have witnessed here in this country don't even own guns. It is about commitment and dedication to the cause that really matters and what makes the biggest difference. All of the work we do as militia is important to the restoration of the American Republic. If you believe that all militia are guilty of wanting to do the same things that Timothy McVeigh was alleged to have done, then you should also believe that all police are guilty of murdering 17-year-old boys on their way home from church, like Devin Guilford was when he was shot 7 times in the back by Michigan's Eaton County Sheriff Deputy Jonathan Frost. Being militia is simple. You just need to decide what type of job within the militia suits you, and then be the best that you can be at that position. Jobs within the militia are many, and all are completely voluntary. Participation requires no enlistment and no contract. The amount of time that you are able or willing to spend is entirely up to you, and because we would like you to spend a lot of time doing it, you are encouraged to pick jobs that appeal to you and that you can become proficient at. Here is a list of jobs that are available in the militia: administrative support, communications, combat, intelligence and combat support, arts and media, computers and technology, legal and law enforcement, mechanics, medical and emergency, construction and engineering, transportation and aviation, just to name a few. There are no applications or interview process for these jobs. Simply pick a job or jobs you would like to do and start doing them until you find your perfect fit. Criminals that work in government hate being in the spotlight. If you know and can prove that some elected or appointed official is abusing his or her office, exploit that. But exploit that only with the proof and do it at the same time, every time. This both legitimizes your position and keeps you from looking like a lunatic. Here is an example from my own personal first-hand experience. I know that the Kent County Sheriff's Department employs criminals. Not only that, the administrators of the Kent County Sheriff Department, including the elected sheriff himself, Larry Stelma, actively works to aid and abet these employed criminals by refusing to address the crimes of his employees, making him as criminal as they are, and additionally, an accessory after the fact. Up to this point, these allegations are unsubstantiated. It's just a bunch of words. It must be followed up now with facts and proof. Here's another example. On March 3, 2010, a deputy named Patrick McCullough created the attached counterfeit deed in direct violation of Michigan law, MCL 750.248 Bravo, a 14-year felony, and since this deed was created in 2010, the Sheriff's Department in Kent County and the Sheriff himself, Larry Stelma, has refused to address these allegations of crimes being committed by persons in his employ. Remember, it's critically important to put the allegation with the proof. State the claim, offer the proof, and then stop, record, and promote often. You will know almost immediately if your claim is completely solid and bulletproof when there is no rebuttal. You have at this point perfectly framed your claim, and the burden of proof is now entirely theirs. The militia today has been crippled by imposed notions and suggestions as to how it should be. This is much more than a coincidence, folks. Another majorly distracting imposition upon the militia has been its commanders wasting time discussing and dealing with issues that are completely outside of their control. The organized marches on D.C. fit squarely into that category. These efforts are not only pointless, they are designed to waste our time and our financial resources. There are no crimes being committed in Washington, D.C. that aren't being committed by your own county. Today is March 4th, 2017, and I would like to thank you for spending these 10 minutes with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and help me promote awareness by sharing this video. My name is Ted Visner, and I can be reached for comment by phone at 989-954-2814. Peace and God bless.
It's time to let it go.